What's up, Zox fam? We're back with some more Etheria Restart. Now, we're going to be getting into a character overview of the Crimson Duchess, Veronica. I definitely can say that this unit is by far one of the most impressive units and one of the newer units that came in the last beta. And when we're looking at what she's able to do, she is basically a buffing, debuffer unit. And this is something that really is going to be bringing immense value, especially if you understand how to properly use her. So when we actually get into the intricacies of her kit, starting off with the Shadow Thorn, the Shadows of Roses are the most enchanting. Veronica deals 240% damage to a single enemy with a 40% chance to inflict a 2-turn attack break. And then her unique ability within this skill is Thorn Break. So when Veronica is attacked, she increases strike prep by 35%, and it can be triggered one time per turn. Now, because of the fact that it can be triggered one time per turn, this isn't really going to be enabled by any sets that allow you to basically utilize your skill 1, for example, when being hit, because it only will trigger the strike prep push once. So other than that, though, you still will be able to take advantage of the attack break, which is pretty huge considering it's 40%. And that's basically going to be mitigating a lot of damage coming your way. Now, when you look at the skill 2, the Soul Bloom, save the secret prayers as the delicate flower withers in an instant. Removes HP from all enemies equal to 20% of Veronica's max HP, and then applies a 2-turn shield of the same amount to all allies. Now, this of course is further emphasizing the more HP that she has, the more that you basically can get in terms of value from this ability. That 20% might not seem like much, but when you're in the heat of a fight and combining that with other units, that's actually a lot of value. And then because it will then layer on as shield, this is definitely going to be a great defensive layering ability and allowing her to have that extra utility. Now, when we're looking at her final skill, and what I would say arguably makes her one of the most broken units in the game, is the Spirit Circle. The cycle of death and rebirth made withered flowers bloom anew. Veronica deals 420% damage to a single enemy, steals all buffs from them, and then spreads all her buffs to allies and applies 1 turn of Soul Ward. Now, Soul Ward is a unique ability or buff to her where it makes it to where HP will not fall below 1 point. Now, the reason why I would say and argue that this makes her one of the top units in the game, and specifically in scenarios like in PvP or RTA, where you're really able to take advantage of this, is the fact that she can literally steal any buff in the game. Yes, this is including unique buffs. So this makes her one of the few units that can counteract some of the most potent units in the game that have unique buffs that typically wouldn't be able to be tampered with. She's able to basically steal them, which gives her a ton of value. Now, as far as some module recommendations, I would definitely say starting out, Swift Rush is an easy go-to on the 12 matrix bonus. Is going to be giving you a speed value increase of 35%. Some other ones you can get into, of course, would be ones like Bramble, where Bramble is going to be giving you on an 8 matrix bonus, defense increase of 10%. And Animus also has a 25% chance to counterattack with a basic attack when hit. And then you also have some main ones when you're looking at that HP value increase, and what's really going to be helping scale your shields is going to be Wellspring. On a 12 matrix bonus is going to be giving you an HP increase of 45%. Now, once you get a little bit deeper, I definitely would recommend ones like Bloodbath, where it will give an effect res increase of 18% on a 12 matrix bonus. And then when taking cumulative damage greater than 20% of max HP in a turn, the excess damage is further reduced by 60%. Now, when we start to look at substats and main stat values that you can actually aim for, I would definitely say effect res, HP, and HP are going to be pretty big on a character like Veronica. You could always go HP, 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 and you could even try to throw in some other things based off of your needs, like HP defense, etc. Now, when we start looking at substats, I would definitely say speed is going to be very important with effect res, also HP, and of course defense. These are definitely values that are going to be pretty huge to not only allowing this character to be able to stay alive much longer, but ultimately allowing her to really play into her biggest gimmick, which is stealing buffs and then being able to spread those amongst her entire party. So the fact of the matter is that this character definitely needs to be alive in order for you to get the most usage and utility out of her. Now, moving along into skill prioritization, the skill 3 would definitely be the one that you want to invest in first, with the first node increasing damage multiplier to 390%. The second node will be increasing the chance to buff steal to 100%. The third skill node will basically be increasing damage multiplier to 420%. And the very last one will further reduce the skill cooldown by 1 turn. Now, the second skill will be next up on the priority list, where in the first node, it will remove HP effects and increase shield amount to 16% of her max HP. Then the second one will actually then, of course, remove HP effects and increase the shield amount to an additional 18% of her max HP. Then with the third node, it will further increase and give you some HP effects and increase shield amount to 20% of her max HP. And then with the very final one, it will then reduce the skill cooldown by 1 turn. And then finally, for the last one in the prioritization list, you have the skill 1. In the first node, it increases the damage multiplier to 240%. In the second node, it increases the chance of inflicting attack break to 40%. The third node will further increase the effect of strike prep boost to 35%. And then in the very last node here, it will increase the duration of the attack break to 2 turns. Now, as far as shell recommendations, she's going to have a few. So starting out in Shadowrunner, we have the Unbridled Science, Star, the Mermaid Princess, Diamond Heart, and yes, this will be able to stack with the shield that she gives innately. Artisan, Gigabyte, Alicorn, Halloween, Codex of Magic, Lighthouse. Getting into our infamous pros and cons when it comes down to Veronica, I think that some of the biggest pros with her is that she's a fairly sneaky character. This is a character that you really want to be mindful of when she's on the field because again, she can literally steal any buff. And that's one of the things that really makes her unique is the fact that not only is she able to buff steal and steal those unique buffs, but then she's able to share any buff that she takes with her party. And that, of course, in turn is going to be making her extremely valuable. And when you're also talking about the Soul Ward ability, which is basically a death prevention mechanic, this is also going to be giving her a ton of value in PvE and PvP. No matter where you use her, it's going to be extremely valuable to have an ability that prevents you from dying. Now, when we're also looking at the fact that she can give shield, this is another thing that really does play a huge part into overall value. This is a defensive layer that's going to allow you to take on more damage. And this is something that can help either increase your survivability or sustaining you in a really tough fight or situation. And then because she also has a skill 1 that has an attack break, this is also allowing her to further isolate and diminish the value of attack that a character might have, as well as being able to continuously rotating herself so that she can get closer and closer and closer to her next buff still. So now when we're looking at cons, I would definitely say one of the biggest cons that Veronica faces is just simply put that you really honestly need to utilize her buff still properly. There will be a lot of scenarios and situations where if you make the wrong decision and still a buff at the wrong time, that could absolutely make your team fall apart. Or it could just create a scenario where she's not really offering you much value in that given run or in that given comp. So you really have to plan and execute her properly and really understanding fundamentally how she works in the specific comp you're running her in, and also up against the enemies that might be opposing her. This is just something that I think really makes her a more technical and more of a specialist type character, but definitely does not take away from the immense value that she brings to the table. So that's basically going to be that with the Crimson Duchess Veronica. I hope that this was able to give you some more insight on how this Animus works, and ultimately is going to allow you to be able to maybe even theory craft some other ways of using her. Now with that, guys, definitely let me know how you guys feel in the comment section down below. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel so you guys can make sure you're locked in and not missing any of the amazing content that's going to be engulfed around Etheria Restart on this channel. So that's basically going to be that. Everyone, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.